good. We may have a few more people joining us in just a few minutes. I'm really glad y'all are here today. I'm really looking forward to this webinar. I think it's going to be really helpful for y'all. I want to take a minute to introduce our presenters. We're only going to be on video for these introductions so that you have a chance to sort of put faces with names for the people that will be giving you a lot of resources and information today. But because of bandwidth issues and people having different capacities to handle that, we're going to turn off the video after these introductions and go only to slides. And we'll talk a little bit more about the platform in just a minute. So today's program is on how to host food and farm training programs at community colleges. We have two very successful programs here today to share with you sort of how their programs got started, what they learned from doing them, and some resources for starting your own if you're interested. So first, I'd like to ask Tiffany Henry and Rob Hawk from Jackson and Swain counties at Southwestern Community College to introduce themselves.
Hi, this is Tiffany, and I'm the director of the Small Business Center at Southwestern Community College in the Far West. We cover Jackson, Macon, and Swain counties.
Robert Hawk with NC State Extension, Jackson and Swain County Extension, the County Extension Director.
Excellent, thank you. And then Tanya and Kyle.
And I'm Tanya Weary. I'm the director of the Small Business Center at Vance-Granville Community College, and we cover Vance-Granville, Warren, and Franklin counties.
Good morning, I'm Kyle Burwell. I coordinate the HRD program, Human Resources Development at Vance-Granville, but I was also very involved with the Project Skill Up and other Tobacco Trust Fund initiatives, and Tanya and I have been working closely together on this project through those funding dollars.
Excellent, thank you guys. So I'm going to turn off all of our webcams and get you guys to give us just a second while we organize that. Sorry. I'm still learning this. All right. So thank you guys for being here. What we're going to do today is I'm going to really quickly go over this platform with you. Obviously, I am not the best user of this platform, but I should be able to help you as questions come up with anything. We'll have Tiffany and Robert will do our first presentation from the Appalachian Farm School, and then Vance-Granville will give their presentation, and then we'll have questions and answers towards the end. You are all automatically muted as attendees. We want you to interact with the presenters, but you can submit questions through the chat box, which is over on the right-hand side in your sidebar. If you click the little triangle next to it, it'll expand that pane, and you'll also find in there some links to things that may be helpful as we go forward. If you have any trouble during the webinar, use this chat box to ask me questions, both for the presenters and if you have any technical difficulties. And most of your chat box questions we will save until the end, unless it's something that I think that the presenter can kind of easily and quickly get to during their presentation. When the webinar is over, you will get a link to the YouTube presentation, and you've also got a PDF version of the slides over in the handout section, which is on your right sidebar. There are two handouts there. That second one that says NCDT webinar July 18th, that is the full slide set from today with all of the active links that you can download and use as we're going through this or later. And then the first document we'll talk about a little bit later, that is an actual planning guide for hosting these programs at community colleges, and we had the two programs who are presenting here today actually help us develop that. The link in your chat box will also take you to our website where you can download that program guide as well as some sample documents like what an application looks like, what a flyer looks like, what a good planning report looks like for putting these programs on to sort of make this easier for y'all to do. So just a very quick overview. These webinars are part of a series that's hosted by the NC Growing Together project. We are based at the Center for Environmental Farming Systems, which is a project at NC State University, NC A&T State University, and the North Carolina Department of Agriculture. This project is a 5-year USDA-funded grant, working on these sort of 4 big areas of farmer, producer, and processor capacity, supply chain expansion, and supportive business environment. A lot of this webinar series and what we've done this year, and where I've met many of you actually who are attending, is through creating supportive business environments. So trying to help resource the folks who are already on the ground, including Cooperative Extension and small business centers, to help businesses in food and farming plan a little better, handle regulations, learn what they need to do before they sort of get started or get to a place where they're expanding. So we are also really, really grateful that the Rural Center is hosting this webinar series with us and also helping, lead tech support and answer all of your questions as we go along. So thank you to Jaleisha and the Rural Center. All right, and without any further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Tiffany and Rob.
Okay, well, thank you, Emily. As we said, that we're really glad to be a part of this. I think it's important for you guys to take this step, and can't change the slide. There we go. Oh, okay, sorry. I'm thankful that you guys are taking the initiative to sit in on this webinar, because I think that this is a very important thing that we as a state are putting more of an emphasis on. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what we have branded and called the Appalachian Farm School, and it really serves Haywood County West. That's primarily where those participants come from. And we've done it in partnership with both the Small Business Center and Cooperative Extension, the Jackson and Swain County offices. So I want to give you a little bit of a background, because a lot of people wonder where it started and how it came to be. And it actually started in the late fall of 2014. We just finished our 3rd year of the Appalachian Farm School. And it began with the Small Business Center. We were offering some one-off seminars, 3-hour seminars related to agribusiness, marketing, pricing, cash flow. And Rob, unbeknownst to me, his part-time admin at the time, had been coming to some of my other Small Business Center seminars, and she heard about these agribusiness seminars that we were hosting, and so she introduced Rob and I, and it kind of just took off from there. And I think that, when Rob came up to me in the very beginning, I was a little intimidated, actually. But I think that, the important thing for us is we were trying to figure out how we could support our farming community to the greater good. What is the end result that we want to have, and how can we do it with what we've got available to us? And so what we kept hearing over and over in the conversation was, the extension offices are short-staffed. They don't have the support staff that they used to have to help farmers with their farm business planning. There's a gap in the training with regards to the business aspects of farming. And so that's where I was like, well, that's what we're here for. Go ahead.
So, yeah, Tiffany's exactly right. The situation in our area was we had an area specialized agent in farm business management. At that time, it was Tamara Cole, now Tamara Talley, and she worked the same area, Haywood County West, which was approximately 7 counties, including the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians on the Qualla boundary. So that position was basically omitted when she took the 4-H agent job in Macon County. And she was doing a lot of work in farm business planning, especially with agriculture taxes, farm taxes, that type thing. So we were getting calls, still getting calls from some of the people, the clientele she worked with, and other people that just needed some good basic small business planning. So being further out here in the far west, we didn't have the resources anymore. It was too far from the NC State resources there in Raleigh. So we needed some help because we were getting a lot of different questions. So then stumbled across the Small Business Center with Tiffany Henry and some others, so we decided we would build our own school and meet some of these requests that was coming from different producers. So a lot of the ag agents, as y'all well know, are very proficient in production and plant disease, that type of thing, but we don't always have the background in enterprise budgets or QuickBooks or the tax laws for agriculture businesses and the whole small business planning. So this is a large part of why we came about and formed the Appalachian Farm School.
And so, again, that just kind of goes to the next line, as partnerships are crucial to a program's success. And I think anybody that talks to this region and the agriculture partners, we have formed our own sort of band of brothers, if you will, as far as what can we do to support our farming community, whether it's value-added, crops, livestock, what can we do to support them? And they don't feel as though they're siloed, and there's not, just one resource, or not even sure what those resources are, but the partnerships are crucial to a program's success. And so I think that needs to be the foundation when you're looking at planning something, who those partners are, make sure that you're on the same page with what you want to come out of the program as you move forward in the developing of it. And so that's when it started as a conversation between us. And then we decided, to develop this large in part based off the real entrepreneurship for the agribusiness training, the curriculum. And that is real entrepreneurship through action-based learning, and they have a specific curriculum for agribusiness. And we tapped into that and used that to deliver this. In large part, we felt like it would be a success because it's specific to the needs of the farmers. The activities and the sessions that we run through are, they're active and engaging, so it was important for us to be able to translate that and send that information over to them in a way that they could adapt to it. And then, the process for the implementation for us was setting a schedule, and you've got this other handout that I would encourage you to go into. I'm not going to go through all of those details, but that's where a lot of that information came from, is how we implemented the program. The advisory committee that we use when we're planning it, the timeline, and how you really pull that together. So I would encourage you, I'm going to send you to that handout because that's a really good resource for you. The typical enrollment for us, we've had on average about 20 farmers from the western part of the state that have participated. And those have been anywhere from beginners to, we've had some very experienced farmers. I remember the first farm school that we offered, Rob was about to have a panic attack because we had some livestock folks that were in the room that had cattle, and he was like, you can't get those guys to nothing. And I'll never forget that, because I was really excited, because I thought, this is great. They saw value in what we're putting out there. And so we had, like 4, I think, in that first farm school. And so I think that, that just, encouraged us and helped us to see that there really is a need for this. The funding that we used for this, the first 2 years, we had funding from the Community Foundation of Western North Carolina, and then we've also had various local agriculture partners that have funded it as well, in addition to the Small Business Center. Again, that's where we fill that gap as part of our role with the Small Business Center. We have a designated budget that's for entrepreneurship training, and so we pay for that training for the farmers so that they don't have a fee for it. And so this kind of became sort of, a model for us as far as what's that resource, how can we help them without really negatively impacting them, and make sure that it's accessible. And that's another big thing. A lot of times in certain parts of the state, you feel isolated, and so this sort of brought something a lot closer to them than they'd ever had access to before. So more about the program. the timelines for the offering, we offer it, we usually start at the second week in January, and we finish it by the end of February. It's an 8-week training, and it depends on weather. We always, weather in the mountains is unpredictable, and so we always, give them that caveat that in the event that we have to, cancel a class because of snow, we'll just postpone it 1 week. And so we've had to do that a couple of times. I think last year we actually avoided any weather delays because for some reason they always snow on Wednesday or past, and we have these classes on Tuesday night, so we snuck off a lot of them this year. An important feature that we implemented is a survey that's provided in advance. So we have them register in advance, and we have them do an evaluation letting us know their current status. Are they an existing farmer? If they're not, what kind of farming do they want to participate in? What are they currently doing? What kind of needs do they have, and what are their expected outcomes for this? Because we want to make sure that we're meeting those needs. And so that gives us a really good groundwork for what we need to do in those final stages of planning.
Can I say something?
Yep.
One thing, the people coming in are all at a different stage usually in their enterprise. Some are just beginning. Some are well on their way. They were even full-time farmers. But one common denominator they had in common was they had ideas to improve their agribusiness, but they had not put the pen to the paper. They hadn't put it down as a plan. They were still generating it through their head and thinking of what they could do going forward in their business. So that was one thing that they had in common, that we could work with all of them.
And I think that for, if there's SBC on the call, you can, relate to that. That's where we get, a lot of our clients is they have an idea in their head, but now we've got to get them to translate that to a plan and flesh out the feasibility of that. And so we do the exact same thing with the farmers. It's just a different industry. And so pushing that forward, again, like I said, we use the real curriculum, and that's how we format that school. It's 8 weeks, and based on those evaluations that we get on the front end, is we might vary the subject matter. We might combine two sessions, so to speak, and expand on another one. So if the majority of the room really needs help with the financials or the cash flow, sometimes it's hard to cover that in one night, and we really need to dig really deep into that. And so we modify it based on their needs. Marketing, this is, I think for me, one of the most challenging things, because we're the Small Business Center. We typically help, entrepreneurs. And so from the outside, people looking in, why are we offering a farm school, and how does that fit? People don't always look at us as an agribusiness resource. And so getting this in front of the people that can benefit from it is a challenge. And that's where those partnerships that I mentioned earlier are really crucial, because they're the ones that are going to be able to recommend this farm school to farmers that they encounter. This is a sample flyer that we print up. We have little postcards. We mail some out, and then we also put it in farmers markets. We have them set out at farmers markets, seed and feed stores, soil and water, obviously our extension offices. And then we've also done multiple radio spots where Rob and I have gone on. We've had a farmer with us and really talk about the importance of planning, the importance of really understanding the business side of farming. It's not just about understanding how the crops grow and where to plant them, but it's also about the business side of it and making sure that if that's something they truly want to make money off of, how do we make it profitable for them? And then obviously local newspaper, press releases, and then through social media. But I cannot stress this enough. It is vital that you have a really good, strong foundation of partners in the beginning, because they're the ones that are going to help you recruit these students.
And one thing that Extension was able to provide in Jackson, Swain County, our agriculture and horticulture agent, Christy Breedenkamp, has compiled a list of hundreds and hundreds of people over the years that are in different commodity groups, and then she does email blast marketing this. So that's something that you could do out there as a county extension agent.
And I think it's important, realize where are they going to get this information, and sort of where's your target market, how will they see it, and that's where this list kind of comes from. So this is kind of an overview of the farm school, and again, this is kind of a brief outline. The other handout kind of goes more in depth on it, but you can see, it starts with an overview of planning, local resources that they have access to, and then each week you kind of dig a little deeper. So, when you think about a business plan, it's in sections, and we're chopping off one of them at a time. And, some of you are real certified, so you understand this, and so I don't want to dig in real deep on it. But I would say the important thing, and one of the things that each year our evaluations show the most value, is in those guest speakers that we come in and connecting them to resources. So from the first year that we did it to this last year, it changes every year based on the needs of the farmers. It can't be a canned farm school that's the same year in and year out, because I don't think it's sustainable that way. That's just my personal opinion. But what is it that they need, and how are we going to get it to them? And so this past year, I had guest speakers coming in every night. Some nights I had more than one, and those were very valuable to them. We had Soil and Water, we had NCDA, we had Extension come in a couple of nights, we had farmers, we had a CSA farmer, we also had an accountant come in, and we also had two ladies, Laura Loffer and Rebecca Dunning from CEFS, that came in and spoke 2 different nights all the way from Raleigh. So that was a nice treat for us. And so I'll let Emily, if she wants to talk any more about that part of it, but that was an extremely added value. And realizing what your resources are, and making sure that the people in the room understand what local resources they have access to. And that's a real big piece of it.
Thanks, Tiffany. I'm going to put that stuff in the chat box for everybody to know about those curriculum units.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so following up, this is, again, important as you follow up at the end of the farm school. We have evaluations that we send to participants to get their feedback on how the farm school went, what would they change, if there was anything that they would change, and what would they make sure that they included going forward. And it's really just making sure that their needs were met. And if they weren't, let's make sure that we get them that information as a sort of after the farm school. And that's happened a couple of times where they got everything that they wanted to get, but now they realize they need something else. And so we've been able to offer that to them as well. We recap with the partners and the speakers after the farm school, sort of how it went, how they felt like it went, and just, if nothing else, to me, that builds our partnership, and it strengthens our relationship. So we're all on the same page. We all see the value in this program. And then about 45 to 60 days after the farm school, reach back out to those that participate in it and see how they're progressing through their adventure. And if they have any other assistance that they need, what is it, and do they know who it is? And most of the time, they already know who it is because they met them in class. A really interesting part, the typical enrollment, like we said earlier, is about 20 attendees. And I just put some examples out here of what those look like. You have a really diverse group of farmers, and that's always really fun and exciting for me. And I think sometimes it makes people nervous, but to me, I think it's what makes it work. It never fails. Each year, they've always wanted to share each other's contact information so that they build their own network. They've learned so much about each other. They've learned from others' mistakes. through the farm school because they share those experiences, and so they build sort of their own network and mentorship program outside of the farm school. So it's exciting to watch it. They still talk to each other. I talk to them now, and they've been on each other's farms, or they both had this question and they figured it out together. And so it's great because they don't feel like they're alone anymore. You know, we're a resource, but those are the people that are working the business, and they understand what each other's going through more than Rob and I do. And so it's important for them to see that, I think.
And one thing the county extension agent be involved in this is that you get a closer relationship with the farmers that you have maybe worked with on production end, but maybe not so much on the business end. So it brings you closer in partnership with them. But it also provides a connection now to a resource like Tiffany was saying, that they can come in and get some business services that an extension agent may not have the expertise in. So it's kind of a win for the farmer, a win for extension, and then a win for small businesses. It's a three-pronged effort that's making this better. And also it brings new clientele to extension that we'd be able to help with that we ordinarily wouldn't have otherwise if we hadn't offered this school.
Yeah, and a couple of things that we've done which have been, I think, invaluable, and the farmers love that, is we kind of turn it over and we ask them at the beginning if it's something that they would like to do, and they inevitably always want to do is a farm field day. And so we turn that back over to extension, and they set it up depending on what they're, what they're doing as to what farms they'll take them to, and the extension folks will set it up and they'll take them out to the farm and share information with them and share it on the farm. And to me, there's a lot that can be learned in the classroom, but there's a lot more that can be learned on the farm. So it's important to sort of work those in together if possible. And that way extension sort of gets to carry the torch on those, because that's not my area of expertise. That's where extension comes into play. And so playing to our strengths, again, the Small Business Center, for those of you that haven't worked with a Small Business Center before, we are a network of small business centers across the state. Every community college has one, and we work with our business community, people that are looking at starting a small business or have one, and we do it through confidential one-on-one counseling, and then we also do these seminars and programs just like this farm school. And the types of assistance that we provide, business planning, marketing planning, looking at their cash flow, budgeting, access to capital, and referral to other resources. And I think that that's one of the key points that Rob and I talked about early on, is extension agents aren't going to get into the access to capital or helping somebody with a loan package, what they need to be putting together and what that needs to look like. He might know, hey, you need to reach out to Carolina Farm Credit, but they're not going to get into the weeds with a lot of that other stuff, but that's where we're here for. So that's an added value to the farmer. Cooperative extension. So
we've known for a long time that these producers can do the production, we can help with the production, but what they really need help with, especially the farmer that's coming on, the young farmer, and even the more contemporary farmers, they need help with marketing. That has been an issue, especially here in the mountains, is how to help them market these products. But before they market, do they have their budgets right? Do they have their pricing right? Do they know what they're really marketing? Do they really know what they're going in business for? So that's something that we can do with the Small Business Center, and we learn as well. So when the next person comes around, we have a better idea of how to assist them in all the different checkoffs they need to work on, as far as regulatory, who at NCDA, who at Farm Bureau that could help them, or the Carolina Farm Credit, and definitely who at Small Business Center could help them.
And I think it's important for us to sort of reiterate is, I'm not an expert in farming and he's not an expert on the business side, but together we're a really good team that helps our farmers get to where they need to be. And so that goes back to playing to our strengths. We can't each be everything to everybody. And the minute we recognize that and realize that there are a lot of other resources out there that we can partner and work together with to accomplish, some really great things, I think we'll all be better off. So that takes care of our stuff.
Let me say one last thing. Oh.
Go for it.
Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, we did. Other people have gone down this road before us, and one of those was the Piedmont Farm School that started out in Hickory and Catawba County. They have a really well one that was formed before us, so we even gleaned some information from them to help us. So
yeah,
thanks to them, they helped.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. I am going to switch things over to Tanya and Kyle.
Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Tanya at Vance-Granville, and our program is very similar to what Tiffany and Rob were talking about. We have a collaboration that is through the North Carolina, hold on one second, I'm trying to change the slide. Okay, hold on. It's a collaboration through the North Carolina Tobacco Trust Fund Commission. We were able to receive a grant through them. Of course, the Small Business Center and our cooperative extensions throughout the 4 counties that we serve, Vance-Granville, Franklin, and Warren counties. We also have many other partnerships as we've gone through this program, meaning we've used facilities throughout the different counties by working with the municipalities and counties to allow us to host our program there. So we thought we would do a timeline of events. Our HRD coordinator, Kyle, had discussed ag entrepreneurship possibilities back in October of 2013. And we sat down together and discussed what could we do to work together to use the Tobacco Trust Fund funding, which their focus is for farms, agriculture, and so we came up with the idea of the North Carolina Real Entrepreneurship Action Learning program, and they specifically had one that was catered to agriculture. So we worked with Real at the time. They were still, NC Real was an entity at the time. They've since transferred over to the Sequoia Fund. And in the spring of 2014, we sent our grant proposal to the North Carolina Tobacco Trust Fund for modifications through the systems office for review, and we were approved. We were approved for that, for a 2-year grant program, and we met with throughout the Vance County Cooperative Extension as well as our other cooperative extensions, but for our kickoff we met with Cooperative Extension because we wanted to house this initial one in the Vance County Regional Farmers Market, and they allowed us to have the classroom there at the farmers market, and so Vance-Granville partnered with them and we outfitted the classroom for the needs of the class and also their needs by providing a projector, screen, computer, things like that for the classroom. The Small Business Center typically does not generate FTEs, but the NC Real program is approved by the state to allow the Small Business Center to receive FTEs. So it's a win-win for the college, Small Business Center, and of course the students. We are continuously marketing and planning and recruiting students for the program. And I'm not sure if it's mentioned on another slide, but we run our program the same as Tiffany mentioned, with it being early spring, so like January to March, and we do offer in late fall as well. So I mentioned just a little earlier that the NC Real means the North Carolina Rural Entrepreneurship through Action Learning. They have educational programs and support for adults or youth interested in entrepreneurship, and they have others that are available if you're just interested in entrepreneurship, arts and crafts. They also have one. And we do that one as well here at the Vance-Granville Community College, and they also have one focusing on healthcare. We have a local small business owner, farmer, who went through the program, who's certified. I also went through the program. I'm certified to teach. Her name is Carrie Harvey of Harvey Hills Farm. She's located in Granville County, and she's been teaching this since we started back in October of 2014. And again, we're able to generate the FTEs on this program. And we thought we would show you. This is Carrie and her family at the local farmers market. And what's great about it is that I met Carrie because she came in as a client looking for help when she was starting her business, her farm, looking for assistance from the Small Business Center. And through that connection and relationship, I found out, that she was a great fit for the program, and she's been doing this for us since, like I said, 2014. And she also does, from time to time, other workshops or seminars that we may hear from our students when we do the evaluations in the class, some things that they may want to learn or go more in depth on in the agribusiness field. We put together a marketing video that's found on YouTube to help promote our program, and it touches on, I think, all the aspects that you will learn throughout the class, and we actually had our students participate in it, so we thought we would play it. It's a fun video. We based it off of one of Craig Morgan's songs on A Little Bit, country singer, so we thought we would play that now.
Really fast.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all. I'm working on it. Hold on.
Okay. Sorry. That's a
I don't have my computer audio connected, so give me just 1 second. Okay. A little bit of a little bit of food. Can someone mute, please? Can we, anyone who is not muted, should we be muted? A little bit of compost, a little bit of food, a little bit of garden, a little bit of sun, a little bit of all of the stuff is the same agricultural living, a little bit of water, a little bit of apple fruit, a little bit of flour, a little bit of chicken, a little bit of milk, just the same. There's Turkey that is like an agricultural entrepreneur, against real agricultural entrepreneurship program, and Vance-Granville.
Okay, sorry about all the distortion and all in it, but we hope you enjoyed it. You have the link for the YouTube that will give you an idea of all the aspects that you will touch on in the class.
I'll let you do the mouse. Okay, so our target audience, which is probably very similar to the target audience at Southwestern, we were looking at adults that were interested in earning a livable wage with a farming business, maybe former agribusiness entrepreneurs interested in revamping family land to earn a profit, and as well as a new perspective on for agribusiness entrepreneurs. We worked again with our employment offices, NC Works office, Cooperative Extension offices, just lots of partners, marketing again at the farmers markets, collaborations with our local farm bureaus and farm credit offices to recruit students and make sure we were marketing everywhere we needed to be and getting the word out. The next slide, it just goes over showing the different sessions that are provided when we run a class. We typically run 7 sessions, and you see there that class 1 through 7, the business planning, and similar to, I believe, what Tiffany mentioned with Southwestern, almost every class there is a guest speaker that we have worked with our instructor to recruit different people that we've networked with to make sure that not only are they getting the information from the NC Reel, the course materials, but also from folks that are doing that type of work every day and giving the students just more resources from the community.
And some of those have included, like we have an attorney come in, we have the small, large farm owners come in, insurance agent, someone from lending, from our local banking institutions here. We've had restaurants that do the local, the farm to table concept. I don't know, always folks with the Cooperative Extension comes in as well. We've had folks from NC State come in for the Safe Farms program to talk about that piece.
And the taxes.
And taxes, yes.
About farming taxes.
That's been a biggie. People have really wanted to know more about agricultural taxes. So that's typically been a good follow-up session for us after the program. So anyway, sorry, Cal, to interject.
No, I'm glad you did. You just gave more details on who our guest speakers were, because I think the instructor is of utmost importance, but of course, like I said, just seeing other faces and putting those networking opportunities together for the local communities.
And when we get our evaluations back, we do the evaluations at the end, like Tiffany had mentioned, and we always get such positive feedback from the students, because the speakers are such an invaluable resource to them. They've made a contact with a certain institution or business, and they feel like they have a connection and a relationship with them. So that's been a great piece. So definitely trying to get resources, as in people, to come out and be part of the program has been a huge benefit for the students.
And the next slide just discusses Small Business Center counseling, and it is a requirement of the program for a student to become a client of the Small Business Center. They will attend the initial Small Business Center counseling session with Tanya. The focus of this initial session, as you see here, it includes a reiteration of how to start the small business, how to write a business plan. Some of those things, of course, were discussed in class, but she can really hone in on more details for them, because it's hard to get all that in within a class session. And they can assist with other business matters, such as determining cash flow for a person if they're brand new to wanting to start a business, and and then the ways to market, and then they can help to provide referrals to that person once they're in business, and educational materials as well. And then Tanya just wrote me a note, and I'm not quite understanding, so I'm going to let her speak to it.
Okay.
But I'm sorry.
We have had too, as part of the program, as an incentive for our students to write the business plan as they go along. They have a journal that they keep, and to start with the business plan. But we had partnered for several years with one of the local banks to have a business plan competition. And then they would like receive a $100 gift card, Visa gift card, and then they use that for startup materials or whatever it may be. But it was a little incentive that helped get the students to really dive in and start writing their business plan.
Yes, the relationship with the bank in the beginning was very helpful, and again, like she said, a resource for them, and some healthy competition for the students as well. Whoops. So the next slide, we were just going to talk a little bit about, we continued, to receive Tobacco Trust Fund funding. It was originally called Project Skill Up, and then over time, the name of the grant has simply become Tobacco Trust Fund funding. Our last grant with them, we called it Cultivating and Growing Agricultural Communities. But through the grant funding, we are able to provide the tuition for students that attend the Agricultural Entrepreneurship course. We can fund the materials and supplies that are needed per student, certain classroom materials, and then half of the cost to pay the instructor can come out of that funding as well.
And that was it.
Yeah.
You guys have anything else you want to add?
Just it's been a wonderful partnership, I feel like, with some of the things that I was initially able to do with Tobacco Trust Fund funding many years ago, and just how things have evolved, and being able to really partner with not only internally the Small Business Center, but externally with so many partners across our 4 counties, and how we were just able to start this program here that wasn't in existence prior. There was a semblance of this and that maybe with Cooperative Extension, but just being able to have all the partnerships and the networking and be able to provide this to our local communities has been wonderful.
Yeah, we have been able to build a lot of partnerships, and we couldn't do it without them. Cooperative Extension helps us market by putting it out on Twitter or their email listing. They allow us to post our posters or flyers in there. They give referrals to us, so we couldn't do it without them. We couldn't do it without the local city and counties providing space for us and allowing us to post and market in their facilities as well. It takes all of us for this to be successful, and it has built, I don't know if you want to call it like an alumni association of the students, but they stay in touch with one another. Carrie stays in touch with them, and then through the Small Business Center we stay in touch with them, but they have built relationships among themselves as well, with either calling on each other for some ideas, or even just purchasing products from each other. It's just been a win-win.
Mm-hmm. And like you all mentioned, visiting each other's farms to learn from each other. Maybe without our involvement, maybe with our involvement, but they get to know each other, and they can reach out to one another and get assistance. So again, just a big win-win.
Thank you, guys. Tiffany and Rob, is there anything else that you guys would like to close out with? since right now I don't have any questions coming in.
I'd really appreciate people attending the session and learning and sending some feedback. You know, we're 3 years into it, but we're always open for suggestions of how to improve it. And I think we get a little bit better every year just going through trial and error. But you know, there's other things going on out there in the state that we can learn from as well. So thank you for attending.
Excellent. All right. If nobody's got any additional questions, which I am not seeing them come in, then what I'd like to do is just give you a very quick upcoming webinar series. Do note that you will receive by email, if you were on today, a copy of the presentation and a link to the YouTube video. So feel free to share that with anybody that maybe didn't get to attend from your organization. August 10th is our next webinar. That'll be the new crowdfunding laws in North Carolina, which just took effect this year. We'll have the NC Secretary of State's office here to present about that. About 75% nationally of the businesses that use crowdfunding are food and farm businesses. So this is a serious question for a lot of these folks. And then in September, we'll have something about the changing farm-to-table trends and how that affects traditional clients that you may deal with at small business centers like restaurants or value-added companies. October will be trademarking, and then November will be culinary programs and local food purchasing and training at community colleges. I did get one question from Mecklenburg County about how to find and see real resources. So the best place to start is with your local small business center. You can look that up, or you can go to, and I'll put the link in there, ncsbc.net. That has a list of all of the small business centers across the state. A lot of their counselors and directors are REAL certified, and we have actually sponsored several of them to attend and become Ag REAL certified, which will be great this year. We just finished one up in July, and we'll have another training in September. So those are the folks I would start with. REAL itself, on the website that I linked you to in the chat box before, we'll have a directory up soon of folks in your region who are REAL certified, who are available to sort of teach these courses and bring that curriculum to you. And Laura Loffer, my colleague at A&T, and I both went to the REAL training and are now Ag and REAL certified also. So if you guys have questions about putting on your own programs or you're looking for instructors, feel free to contact me. You've got my email address here, and you'll get it later today as well, and I'll be happy to connect you with folks. All right. Well, if there are no other questions and our panelists are good to go, then we will go ahead and close this out. Again, we really appreciate all of y'all being here today, and we look forward to answering any questions you have and seeing you at the next webinar in August. Great. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.